You know someone who's lived with pancreatic disease, especially cancer, you know it's a tough challenge. There's an organization rising to that challenge by promoting awareness, research, and better access treatment. And the nonprofit National Pancreas Foundation recently announced centers to focus on treatment at 3 hospitals in Boston. We'd like to welcome the organization's co-founder, a survivor of a pancreatic disorder, Jane Holt. Thank you very much for being with us, Jane.
Thank you.
I want to start with some definitions here because, we know the horror story of pancreatic cancer, but there's the rest of the spectrum here, so tell us about that.
You mean all the other diseases of the pancreas?
Yes.
So you have chronic pancreatitis, which is what I have, which is a chronic inflammation of the pancreas. There are no treatments for it. Quite often patients have to be hospitalized to take care of the pain, where you're in the hospital and on pain medication, IV fluid, and rest the pancreas, and eventually you get better if you're lucky. There's also acute pancreatitis. There's pediatric pancreatitis. Children, unfortunately, get this disease. And there's hereditary pancreatitis and autoimmune pancreatitis. So we're the only foundation in the country that deals with all diseases of the pancreas.
Well, one of the other things you have to deal with are the misconceptions out there, because I guess for some people, oh, that's a disease for alcoholics.
Yes. Yes, that's been a problem for a long time, and we were just at the American Pancreatic Association meeting in San Diego last week, and on Friday they had a whole conversation and discussion about whether alcohol is or is not the cause of chronic pancreatitis. And basically the general feeling is that no, it's not, that only 4% of alcoholics actually get pancreatitis, and there may be a slight genetic defect that makes one more prone to getting chronic pancreatitis if you drink alcohol, but they haven't found that yet. They're close to finding it, but they haven't found it yet. Really, probably one of the most major causes of pancreatitis is smoking, which doesn't come up that often, but smoking is very bad for patients with pancreatitis.
I've also seen something about correlations between pancreatic disorders and diabetes. Is there any possibility that something like that might be around too? Yeah,
well, that's a very interesting conversation, because another thing that they're talking about at this meeting, and something that the National Pancreas Foundation has been advocating for a while, the NIH, 2 divisions of the NIH, the National Institute of Diabetes, Digestive and Kidney Disease, and the National Cancer Institute have just joined together to sponsor a consortium of institutes across the country to study exactly that. There is a question is, if you get diabetes, what would normally be considered type 2 diabetes, when you're middle-aged and you're not overweight, is that a precursor for pancreatic cancer? And there are other things that they're beginning to see where the transition from pancreatitis can lead to pancreatic cancer. So there's going to be a $9 million consortium to study all of these things, so we're very excited about that.
And plus you also have the concern of racial disparity with these
Yes,
disorders.
you do. Certainly, yes. That's definitely a problem. The African Americans get pancreatic cancer probably a little bit more than the white population.
Well, one of the other things you've been working on is access treatment, and I guess at least up until this point there have been some real inconsistencies in what people can get.
Right. It's very important that a patient with pancreatic disease goes to a center where they specialize in that disease. The National Pancreas Foundation has just launched 30 National Pancreas centers across the country, and it's the first time we're doing this. This is our first set of applications. 3 of them are in the Boston area. You have BI Deaconess Hospital, Brigham and Women's Hospital, and Boston Children's Hospital. And the purpose of these centers are places where the whole patient is being cared for. They have gastroenterologists that specialize in pancreatic disease. They have endoscopist surgeons, but they also have nutritionists and pain clinics and social workers that are very familiar with patients with pancreatic disease to make sure we're taking care of the whole patient.
Is there any sense in talking about prevention? You've learned some lessons, I'm sure, along the way.
Prevention, I think not. I mean, it's very hard right now. They're still trying to find out exactly what's causing pancreatitis and what's causing pancreatic cancer. Another thing that we, the National Pancreas Foundation, are doing is we're just about to launch a registry across the country for both pancreatitis and pancreatic cancer. And it's going to be hugely successful, because what it will do is being entered in by the institution and/or physician, and it also has a patient portal. So we'll be able to gather all of the medical information about the patient and all the quality of life information from the patient themselves. And we hope that this is going to help lead to some more understanding of what causes both of these diseases.
Well, in the case of cancer here, you have something that's very aggressive and hard to detect.
Right.
You're working on that with research, or at least you want that to happen.
Right. Early detection is what we're all working for right now, and it was a huge focus of the American Pancreatic Association meeting last week. The problem is most people are stage 3 or stage 4 when they're diagnosed, and surgery won't help them, so all they can do is chemo if they're lucky enough to be able to do that. And we're trying to find early detection. Are there biomarkers? Is this diabetes? Are there imaging techniques that could be improved that would work? Those are the things that we're working on now, trying to hope to find a difference and make a difference.
Well, talk about the centers in Boston and what people should do if they want to look into them, the 3 hospitals in Boston here.
So there is a physician listed on our website for each of those centers that you can call if you want to be seen at those pancreas centers. And it's just, the idea is that they just can really care for you completely. And a lot of times patients have to go to one place to see a gastroenterologist, another place for pain clinics, another place for nutritionists. This is all under one roof, so it's just an easier thing for the patient.
And there's also some awareness activity happening pretty soon here in Boston?
Yes, yes. Tomorrow is the Global Pancreatic Cancer Day, and what it is all around the world, organizations have gotten together to have this day be a day for more awareness of pancreatic cancer. There are, believe it or not, there are 27 nonprofit foundations in Canada and United States that are concerned with pancreatic cancer. And they all came together last summer to meet and figure out how we can work together and make a difference. So we're doing things like the Lenny Zakim Bridge will be lit purple tomorrow. We're hoping for lots of social media pictures on Facebook, people wearing purple, getting together. I have a friend that's getting the purple glow necklaces and giving them to all their friends and having families take pictures and putting it up on. It's just to remind people that pancreatic cancer exists and try and get them to know more about the disease.
And to find out some more, they can go to your website too, right?
Yes, you can go to www.pancreasfoundation.org.
Thank you very much for being with us from the National Pancreas Foundation.
Thank you.
Jane Holt. In a moment, we'll tell you about a celebration of jazz in Roxbury, but first, this message.